What's going on, YouTube? I don't have a knife over here for you. Today we're going to be talking about Hinderers again. I have fallen back in love with Hinderers. You guys remember a time, uh, maybe 3 years ago, maybe even longer, when Hinderers were about $800 on the secondary market just for a regular standard run-of-the-mill Sponto XM18 3.5 with G10 scale. This is obviously different. And we were dumping anywhere between $600 to $900 for a Hinder that didn't flip. And it was all in the name, and there was all kinds of hype, and oh, this is like the ultimate hard use knife, and all those things, and so like everybody. I mean, Hinderer was the status symbol, in knife collecting, right? It was the third knife of the knife trinity between the Sebenzas and Striders and Hinderer. And then Rick Hinderer and Rob Orlando, they their factory got bigger. They're able to handle more production, and still lotteries at knife shows. People were still running all over the place to get Hinderers. So this is only from what I've heard. I've actually never been to a knife show before. Running all over the place to get a Hinderer and then sell it on the secondary market, especially a custom ground Hinderer. And the fact that Rick and his company they were able to put out more production of their knives made them more readily available, and people started to kind of, for lack of a better word, wisen up and start realizing that the secondary prices were getting ridiculous, and this is not meant to be a rant video, but the secondary prices on a lot of knives, because of solely the name, started to become crazy. And so, for me, I didn't have anything against Rick Hinderer knives. I think they are still great knives. Or at the time, I still thought they were great knives. I didn't, necessarily see the appeal, of all those knives. And then, finally, Rick Hinderer started to release new blade styles. First it was the slicer grind, which was essentially the Sponto, with a higher grind on it without a Sponto edge, same shape and everything. And then it kind of rekindled some of the craziness of the Hinderer buzz, and then that kind of died down. The slicer wasn't like that, appealing. The Sponto kind of lost its flair. It just kind of became a run of the mill kind of blade, and then it came out with the Wharncliffe blade, and again the hype started again, and the Wharncliffe is the greatest thing, and I think the Wharncliffe is the greatest blade that he's come out with so far, hence two of mine being Wharncliffe. And then again, it kind of died down, and people are trading, and the prices were still, I would say, intermediate, like high, probably around $600 or so dollars. It dropped from the 800. Again, more and more of them were readily available. And then he released the Skinner grind, and then finally the Bowie grind. And so I think that's where it is right now. I don't think he's ever going to release a production style Hellfire grind. If that happened, all the buzz will come back in full force for Hinder. Hellfire grind is definitely very, very awesome. But anyway, then there's all these new accessories that you could get. The titanium backspacers were the first one. Well, actually, maybe the titanium scale was the first one, right? And then it became the titanium backs standoffs for the XM18 3.5, the 24, and for the 3 inch. You got anodized clips. You had some steel flame things that were crazy expensive. Then you start getting the anodized screws, pivot screw, different kind of texture finishes, monkey edge frag pattern on the scales. It was genius. And the XM18s, okay, 3.5 inch, became the most modular and customizable knife, to make it your own flavor. Let alone like all the knife modifiers that are out there that were anodizing all different kinds of colors and stuff like that. And people would grind new finishes, or maybe do a flipper delete, or whatever it might be. Hinders were just, look at this is not even a great variation. I could have anodized things green and purple and all that stuff. But this is, for me, my favorite configuration, with just a straight up stonewashed titanium with blue anodized hardware. This is kind of cool, having a little Crusader in what's it called? Insert, on that handle part, with the Wharncliffe blade. This one is CPM 20CV on the blade too, which just makes it even that more special. But here's the thing, like, as a knife collector and also as a completely amateur knife modifier anodizer, I love doing anodization, and kind of just tuning my knives so that they're perfect for me. I've fallen back in love with Hinders. I love the fact that they're highly customizable. That these accessories are within range of what I would pay for. And I think Rick is a genius in providing all these things. I wish he would provide them faster, but he limits them too. So there's this constant demand of people looking for instance, a freaking 3-inch titanium scale that you can't find anywhere. They are the unicorn of Hinderer knives. Recently, with his release of new 24s, with a lot of different grinds. I think there's this. I've never seen a 4-inch Wharncliffe. That would be kind of cool. But I think he's got the Bowie grind. He's got the Skinner grind for the 24. And for this one, he's only done Slicer and Wharncliffe, as well as Sponto. But with things being released just enough, there's just enough demand for for the different parts that you can customize these knives and make them yours. And for that, Rick Hinderer, I tip my hat off to you. I have all kinds of knives, from productions to mid-techs to full-on customs, and since getting this configuration and customizing it, making my own, and as well as the 3-inch, I absolutely love the 3-inch size, which is weird because when I first reviewed it, I thought it was too little, too dinky and whatnot. Kind of find that this, to be the perfect little EDC blade. I can't get enough of Hinderers. I love them. Not that I'm going to go crazy and collect all different kinds, but it's like I can modify my knives. I can get the kind of blade style that I want. Right now I'm on a Wharncliffe tear, and I can accessorize it how I want, to make it the exact style knife, that I want it to be. And Hinderer's ergonomics and their functionality, they're awesome, and they're not overly expensive where you can't use them. This one I've used on mission trips to chop stuff like crazy. XM24 non-slicer. This is 20 CV blade, handled like a champ. This one I've just, even though it's all babied up and dolled up, Like I use it in the garage and break down, boxes upon boxes, every single time, for trash day. This is the same thing. This is almost kind of I want this to be like an everyday carry, for, because it's so small, because it's so pocketable, it easily just fits everywhere, and you can always have it on you. S35, it's their highest Rockwell that they do on their blades, at least from what I saw on their website. And this is just, the Skinner. I really love the Skinner, but compared to the Wharncliffe, to me, it just doesn't compare. But if I do need a curved edge, I don't have to have a Sponto. This blade edge curve works great, So, and this, this is so Frankensteined up. This is like blue titanium spacers and, silver hardware with whatever, and I anodized this Lockside myself. Probably voided the warranty, but it's not that big of a deal. It's a total user. And if I want to sell it, I can sell it for, pretty much the market price, from Hinderer, as you get direct for all law enforcers and all those things. So, all this is to say, my opinions of Hinderers has been going way up, and I love it. I love the modular ability, if that's even a word, of all the knives. I think it's fantastic, and yeah. So that's my little rant, and not really a bad rant, a good rant, about Hinderers, and make a Wharncliffe XM24. If you build it, the people will come. So, yeah, if you're watching, Rick, great work. I've been doing this. I've been doing videos for over 5 years now, I think, 4 or 5 years, and kind of my like and appreciation for Hinderers has kind of gone up and down. I've always liked them and always respected them, but it's been up and down, and I don't think that this is temporary, like, in terms of my like of Hinderers. I just think right now everything's dialed in perfectly. The prices are reasonable for everybody to get, and that's really, that's the other thing. Like, the prices are spot on right now. You can get XM18s, even 24s. XM18s I've seen go as low as 350, 325. That's perfect. That's an absolute steal, and then you can just spend some money to customize, and get some stuff. And you can find them all over the forums and whatnot, but, once you dial it in and find it, what you exactly like, then it's perfect. You can't do that with a Sebenza. You only get what you see, and it's in the Singo, but man, I wish I had micarta inlays. Well, you got to spend the $500 some to get that, if that's the kind of format that you want. I wish I had titanium screws. Sorry, you're screwed. Any kind of custom knife. Like, this is what the custom maker makes. That's it. Right? And you can do your own anodization and whatnot, but you're limited to, this scale. You're limited to this pocket clip and, this blade grind. That's all you can do. With Hinderers, not that you can switch the blades out or anything like that, but, this format's always going to be the same, but you can just throw anything on there. So I'm rambling. I'm being redundant now. But Rick Hinderer knives, quite honestly, I think they are phenomenal, and their business practice is pretty great as well. Yeah, that's my rant about Hinderers right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next vid. Take care. Bye.